It started with a slap. A hot, angry, disgraceful slap. The kind that doesn't just hit your cheek, it bruises your soul. Halima stood frozen at the center of the compound, her cheek turning red, her hands shaking. Children stopped playing. Women fetching water paused and whispered. Even the chickens ran away. And standing tall, proud, and panting like a lioness in heat, was Mama Baraka, her mother-in-law. She wasn't sorry. In fact, she raised her hand again. "I will slap you 10 more times if you ever put salt in my stew again," she screamed. Halima blinked back tears. Not because she was weak. Not because she was afraid. But because she didn't want to lose her temper and destroy everything. If only Mama Baraka knew the truth. This house she was shouting in. This kitchen she claimed as hers. That black Prado parked outside the gate. They were all paid for by Halima. She was the real provider in the house. But she never said a word. It hadn't always been like this. Halima and Baraka had once been the couple everyone admired. They met in university. He was a dreamer, always talking big, always borrowing someone's pen, always broke but confident. She was the quiet, focused girl running a small online shop from her dorm room, selling wigs, encre dresses, and lip gloss. When Baraka failed to submit his assignment, he begged to borrow Halima's laptop. She gave it to him. He never returned it. Instead, he returned every day after that. He brought her lunch, told her jokes, walked her to class. And slowly, she fell. They started dating. They finished school. They got married in a simple ceremony with borrowed chairs and free cake. Halima's business grew faster than anyone expected. By the time Baraka was still applying for jobs, Halima had built her first shop, hired 2 girls, and started supplying beauty products in bulk. When Baraka finally got a job as a junior officer in procurement, they agreed to keep her success quiet. He didn't want people saying he was living off his wife. And Halima? She just wanted peace. So, everything they owned, land, house, car, even the shop, they registered in Baraka's name. She loved him. She trusted him. She thought silence was wisdom. But peace became poison when Mama Baraka moved in. The old woman arrived with a big bag, smelling of dust and eucalyptus oil. She said her house in the village had caught fire. Halima welcomed her warmly. Cleaned the guest room. Bought her new clothes. Cooked her favorite okra soup. But Mama Baraka? She came with war. Within 3 weeks, the house had changed. Halima was no longer allowed to cook. "No, no, no, my son prefers my food," Mama Baraka would say loudly, slapping raw fish into the sink like a weapon. Halima couldn't even enter her own kitchen without permission. "My son works too hard to come home and eat your rubbish soup," Mama Baraka would hiss. And then, the wigs. One afternoon, Halima found 3 of her favorite wigs missing. When she asked, Mama Baraka smiled and said, "I burnt them. You looked like a witch wearing them." Halima laughed nervously, thinking it was a joke. It wasn't. Baraka, instead of defending his wife, would just laugh. "Just give her time. You know how village mothers are. She'll adjust." But she didn't. She only got worse. She would hide Halima's spices, pour out her perfumes, and sit in the living room in Halima's robes. "You're lucky my son married you," she would say every time Halima walked past. "If it was me, I'd have looked for a woman with brains and beauty. Not just hips and internet business." Still, Halima said nothing. Until that slap. That morning, Halima had only done one thing, tasted the stew on the fire. She added a pinch of salt. Mama Baraka saw her from the hallway. Before she could explain, the woman flew into the kitchen like a storm and dragged her out to the compound. The neighbors watched as Mama Baraka slapped her across the face. And shouted like a mad woman. "You don't touch my food, witch. You are not the woman of this house. You're a stranger here." Halima stared at her. Not blinking. Not crying. Not speaking. Just watching. That was the moment something shifted in her heart. A switch had flipped. A line had been crossed. She turned and walked back inside the house, slowly and silently, her cheek burning and her heart boiling. That night, she would make a decision. And when she did, nobody in that compound would ever forget it. That night, Halima didn't sleep. She lay on her side of the bed, facing the wall, while Baraka snored beside her like a man who had no idea what hell his wife was going through. Her cheek still stung. Her chest felt like it carried a silent volcano. She could hear Mama Baraka pacing around the house like a night watchman, opening kitchen cupboards, drinking warm water, humming loud hymns to cleanse the house from evil spirits. Halima said nothing. But in her heart, something had cracked. She was tired. Tired of shrinking. Tired of hiding. Tired of watching a woman who brought nothing treat her like she was nothing. That slap wasn't just painful, it was a wake-up call. By morning, Halima had made a decision. She showered, dressed in her white kaftan, and prepared breakfast. Not because she wanted to, but because she needed to keep the peace, for now. Mama Baraka didn't say thank you as she swallowed the hot tea and mandazi. She just mumbled, "At least today it doesn't taste like poison." Halima looked at her and smiled softly. That smile scared even the devil. Later that afternoon, Baraka came home early from work. He was whistling like a schoolboy. "Babe, you won't believe it. They're increasing my allowance next month. I told you, this year is mine." Halima stood up from the couch and walked to the drawer. She removed an envelope and a phone. "Baraka," she said gently, "can you read something for me?" He laughed. "Now? On. I just came in. Oh. Please. Just one thing." He sighed and took the phone. She opened her bank app and handed it to him. His eyes scanned the screen. And then, he sat down slowly, like his legs had gone weak. 87,451,000 Nigerian nairas. What is this?" "My savings," Halima replied. "From the business. Just one of my accounts." Baraka swallowed hard. "Halima, this is your money?" She nodded. "I never touched your salary, even when it couldn't buy toothpaste. I paid the workers. Paid for this house. Built our shop. Registered everything in your name because I trusted you. Because I believed in us." Baraka looked confused, guilty, and half ashamed. "But why didn't you ever say anything?" Halima smiled again, tired, broken, but calm. "Because I didn't want people to laugh at you. I wanted you to feel like the man of the house." Baraka held his head. He had been parading himself like a king, while the real provider was being slapped by his mother outside. That night, Halima cooked. She made a gussie with pounded yam and served everyone. Even Mama Baraka. The old woman ate with pride, smacking her lips like she'd won a war. After the meal, she looked Halima in the eye and said, "Finally, you're learning your place. I knew one day you'd stop being stubborn." Halima looked at her calmly. No insult. No reply. She simply picked up the plates, washed them silently, and went to bed. Baraka tried to touch her. She turned away. He tried to talk. She said, "Good night." That night, he couldn't sleep. The guilt was eating him alive. The next morning, Halima woke up early and went to her wardrobe. She pulled out the red folder she'd been hiding for 3 years. Inside was everything: receipts, invoices, land documents, business registrations, tax returns, all with her name on them. She had signed her rights away in love. But now, she was taking them back in wisdom. She called her lawyer. She called her accountant. And for the first time in 3 years of marriage, she said something to herself out loud in the mirror. "Halima, you are not a liability. You are the reason this family is breathing." That same day, Mama Baraka opened Halima's drawer looking for paracetamol. What she found instead was a stack of papers with Halima's name all over them. She froze. She read one. Then two. Then the one that said, "Transfer business ownership." Her hands shook. She rushed to Baraka's office. "My son. What is this? This girl is planning to take everything from you. She's evil. I told you she was a witch." Baraka, already tired, looked her in the eye and said, "Mama. Halima built everything. We've been eating her money since day one." Mama Baraka gasped. "So she's the man?" "No, Mama," he said. "She's the backbone. And we have been breaking her." Later that evening, Halima walked into the compound wearing a long maroon dress, sunglasses, and her most expensive wig, the one Mama Baraka had tried to burn. She looked peaceful. But inside her chest was thunder. She greeted everyone politely, then locked herself in the bedroom and called her friend. "Get ready," she said. "I need a new house. One with peace. I'm leaving soon." And just like that, the woman everyone thought was powerless was preparing for the loudest, most graceful walkout in town. The sitting room was packed. Uncles, aunties, cousins, even a few nosy neighbors who pretended to be passing by. Everyone had come because Halima invited them herself, through personal phone calls and quiet text messages. The invite was simple. "Please come. It's urgent. I need witnesses." When Mama Baraka heard about the meeting, she smiled wickedly. "She wants to beg," she told everyone. "Good. It's time this girl learns her place." She even changed into a gold and purple lace gown, tied her best headscarf, powdered her face so much that her neck and face looked like they belonged to different people. She should kneel and apologize, Mama Baraka said loudly to no one in particular. "She has been disrespecting me since I stepped foot in this house." By 3 p.m., the whole living room was full. Halima stepped out of the bedroom like a queen. No makeup. No wig. Just her natural beauty and a calmness that sent shivers down everyone's spine. She greeted everyone one by one. Then she sat, crossed her legs, took a deep breath, and spoke. "Thank you all for coming. I have called you here not to gossip, not to fight, but to speak truth. The truth that I buried for 3 years." The room went quiet. Baraka sat beside her, rubbing his palms nervously. He knew what was coming. He had begged her all night to keep things private. But Halima said one thing. "Privacy protected your pride. But now I need to protect my peace." She opened a red folder and laid documents on the table like playing cards. "Uncle Sephew, please read this one out loud." Uncle Sephew adjusted his glasses and read. "Certificate of land ownership. Owner, Halima Injeri." Gasps filled the room. Halima pointed to another paper. Auntie Tabitha read it next. "Business registration form. Founder, Halima Injeri. Shareholder, 100%. The silence was deafening. One by one, she presented documents showing that the house, the business, the land, even the Prado parked outside, were all hers. Baraka hadn't contributed more than 70,000 Nigerian nairas in 3 years of marriage. Mama Baraka stood up, trembling with embarrassment. "This is a lie. A big lie," she shouted, her voice cracking. "She's trying to turn my son against me. I saw snakes in my dreams. This girl is a marine spirit." People chuckled. Halima turned to her slowly. "Marine spirit, you say? But you were enjoying my demonic food. Sleeping under my demonic roof. Wearing my demonic slippers." Laughter exploded in the room. Mama Baraka reached for Baraka. "Say something. Tell them this woman is bewitching you." Baraka looked away. He couldn't even meet her eyes. Halima stood. "I have cooked. I have cleaned. I have sacrificed. I even kept quiet when you slapped me in public. But I will not keep quiet while you burn my wigs, poison my peace, and insult me daily inside my own house. She turned to the elders. I love this family. I still love Baraka. But I will no longer allow myself to be buried alive in the name of marriage. I called you here today not to argue, but to announce. I am moving out. And I'm taking everything that belongs to me. For a full minute, nobody said a word. Then Uncle Sephew cleared his throat. My daughter, he said, you have done well. You have shown us what strength and dignity look like. We are ashamed of how you were treated. May God bless your new journey. Even Auntie Tabitha stood and clapped. But Mama Baraka? She collapsed. Right there, in the middle of the room, flat on the floor, arms spread, eyes rolled back. They rushed to her. Poured cold water on her head. Someone brought menthol. But Halima didn't even blink. She stood tall, picked her folder, and said, I've been fainting in silence for 3 years. She'll be fine. That evening, Halima packed her things. Just the essentials. She left the furniture. Left the fridge. Left the expensive plates Mama Baraka claimed were hers. But she took the documents. She took her laptop. She took her piece. Baraka stood by the gate, watching helplessly. Halima, please don't go. She looked at him one last time. I gave you everything. You gave me silence. Then she entered the Uber and left. Mama Baraka watched from the balcony, wrapped in a blanket, looking like a defeated warrior. By the next morning, the news had spread like fire. Did you hear? Halima built everything. Oh. Eh? That small girl? I knew she looked too fresh. So Mama Baraka has been shouting in a house that's not even theirs? The neighbors gossiped. The compound buzzed. But Halima? She was gone. Gone to a new house. Gone to build a new life. Gone to reclaim herself. And what was coming next would shock everyone, including Baraka himself. 3 weeks passed. 3 weeks since Halima walked out of her own house and left Baraka and his mother in their confusion and disgrace. But she wasn't idle. She moved into a beautiful 2-bedroom apartment in Kilimani. Clean, quiet, and filled with peace. No one shouting. No wigs being burnt. No slaps in the compound. Just candles. Soft music. And finally, freedom. She repainted the walls. Bought white curtains. Even hung her favorite quote above the TV. Silence is not weakness, it's power under control. She started taking walks again. Reading books again. Laughing again. And bestie, her skin? Glowed like butter in the sun. The Halima who left was tired and bruised. But the Halima who rose was untouchable. Meanwhile, back at the house, everything was falling apart. Mama Baraka fell sick from stress. Always muttering things like, that girl has cursed this house. I told you she was from the water. Baraka tried to fix things, cooked once, failed. Cleaned the house, failed. He even attempted to run the beauty business Halima built, and in 2 weeks, he lost 1 major client and 2 suppliers. Word spread quickly in the business world. That guy doesn't even know the difference between human hair and synthetic. Money started running dry. And then, the worst blow. One morning, Baraka received a letter from his workplace. He opened it with shaky hands. Termination of employment due to financial misconduct under investigation. He dropped the letter and held his chest. He remembered the small shady deals he had taken behind Halima's back. Halima had once warned him gently, but he ignored her. Now, karma had arrived, wearing stilettos. With no job, no business, and a mother constantly cursing in the living room, Baraka finally broke. He picked his phone and called Halima. Please, just talk to me. She didn't pick. He texted. Even if you don't come back, I just want to say I'm sorry. I never protected you. He didn't know what hurt more, losing her, or realizing he never deserved her. Mama Baraka, too, had changed. She was now quiet. Always in her room. Her powdered face now pale. Her insults now swallowed. One evening, she sat beside Baraka and said, "Call her. Tell her. I was wrong." Baraka looked at her. "You slapped her in front of the whole compound, Mama. And I stood there." She wiped her eyes. "Tell her. I miss her food." But Halima had moved on. She was now speaking at women's events. Telling her story. Teaching others how to build, save, and never shrink themselves for love. One day, while stepping off stage, a man approached her. Tall, clean, confident. He introduced himself as a silent partner from one of her past clients. "I've been watching your growth," he said. "You inspire me. Can I take you out for lunch?" Halima smiled. She wasn't rushing. But the woman who once hid behind a man's name was now a woman others chased just to say hello. Back in the old compound, rent was due. Baraka sold the Prado. Mama Baraka moved back to the village. The mansion that once rang with Mama's shouts now echoed with silence. Then, one Monday morning, two men in black suits knocked on the gate. They carried a court order. "This house no longer belongs to you, sir. The legal owner has reclaimed it." Baraka's jaw dropped. "What?" They handed him a letter. Signed, Halima Injeri. He had forgotten, she may have walked away. But she never walked empty-handed. That Friday, Halima arrived at the house. Hair tied in a silk scarf. Loose kaftan. Sunglasses on. She stood at the gate. Looked at it. Then turned. And gave the guard her final instruction. "Lock it." Baraka watched from inside, helpless. He didn't shout. He didn't beg. He just stood there. A grown man, standing in the middle of a house built by love he never valued, now lost forever. Final scene. Halima drives off. Window down. Wind in her hair. She whispers softly. "You may have called me a liability, but I was the only asset you ever had."
Hello, besties. In this story, we learn that never underestimate a quiet woman, never bite the hands that build your life, and never let pride make you lose a queen. Thank you so much for watching. Kindly like and share your thoughts.